So friends, welcome back to our channel Learn with Geeks. In this video, I have invited Nitish Kumar, who is an aspiring data analyst, basically a fresher who is looking out for a job in the Power BI role. He is a potential fresher and you will see in the future he will definitely secure a job. In this video, I will be taking his Power BI interview and I hope he performs very well. So let's start the video, and before that, if you're new to the channel, then do subscribe it and hit the bell icon to stay updated with all the coming useful videos. Also, you can follow me on Instagram, Learn with Gigs, where you will get regular job related updates as well as short videos on data analytics domain. And friends, do hit the like button of this video because your one like will give me the motivation to create more videos like this. Now let's head towards the interview. Hi Nitish, how are you?
Uh, I am fine. How are you?
I'm also doing good. So Nitish, can you briefly introduce yourself?
Okay. So my name is Nitish Kumar. I am 2023 graduate. I have skills in Power BI, SQL, Python, and Excel. I have worked upon several personal projects in which I have utilized these tools to solve real-world problems. While working on these projects, I have worked upon data extraction, data cleaning, data modeling, data analysis, and data visualization part.
So, like how many projects you have built in Power BI till now?
Till now, I have built four, five. I think I have built five reports till now.
Okay, and how many projects in SQL and Python?
In SQL, I have done two projects, and in Python, I have done one project which was of data extraction.
Okay, and any library you have covered in Python?
In Python, I have worked upon pandas, but I have some very basic skills on pandas. Like I have not gone in too much detail of pandas because I was able to do the similar kind of things using the SQL.
Okay, let's start with the first question. So, suppose you have three tables, okay, in Power Query,
Okay.
and the structure of all those three tables are like similar to each other.
Okay.
Now you went ahead and appended those three tables, okay?
Mhm.
But okay, so you have appended now. Now, if you want to do the close and apply, so what will happen? All those three initial tables plus that appended table containing the data of all those three tables will be loaded in Power BI, right?
Yes.
But I don't want those three tables to be loaded. I only want that appended table to be loaded in Power BI. So how will you manage this?
So in Power Query, we have option to enable load. Then from there we have to check that, and then we will close and apply. Then only that particular merged query will be loaded into our Power BI data model.
Right. Okay, fine. Okay, suppose you have one column, okay, and that column contains email ID of different people, okay, and that email ID is like this, nitish.kumar@gmail.com, for example. Similarly, other email IDs are there. Now,
Yes.
if I want to extract the first part of that email ID, for example, Nitish, to create my name column, which contains the first name, then how will you extract that first name from that email ID column?
Okay. So in Power Query, we have in I think in Transform tab, we have a option to split by delimiter. Then by using that split by delimiter, we will be passing the delimiter on which we want to split the column, and then we will be able to split that column based upon that delimiter.
Okay, fine. Do you know when do we use? Have you used index column?
Yes, I have used index column.
So in what kind of scenario do we use index column?
uh, in my case, my table was not having a primary key, and I wanted to establish a relationship between two tables. So for that purpose, I have created an index column in my dimension table, and then created the relationship between both the tables using that index column.
Okay. Suppose you want to check, like if there is any column in a table and you want to check how many distinct values that column contain. Okay. So how can you check that in Power Query?
Okay, in Power Query, in the inside the View tab, we have an option to check column profile. Then after going into that tab, we will just click on that particular column, and then we will check on column quality or column profile. Then from that we will be able to get a summary of our column, where we will be able to see how many distinct value our column is containing and how many total values our column is having.
If suppose that column contains around 20,000 records, okay,
Yes.
and you know that column profile will show only the top 1,000 like values, right? So according to that top 1,000 values, it will tell what is the distinct and all. So how can we how can we see the overall distinct values if you have to see the overall 20,000 records of that column?
Mm.
You know,
I don't,
you know about this, that we by default it shows top 1,000.
yeah, I know about this, but I don't know like how I will be able to extract whole information about the whole column.
Fine, no problem. Do you know, like, have you applied merge functionality in Power Query?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
So you, can you tell me what is merge?
Basically, it's similar to join in SQL.
Okay.
So suppose we want to create a master table based upon some other table. Then in that case, we want to join two tables. So by using a common column between both the tables, we can create that master table. So in merge query, we have options like left join, right join, left anti join, inner join, right anti join.
Okay. What is left anti join?
In left anti-join, we will get only that record which are present in the left table. We will get the unmatching record from left table. Means all the record which are only present in the left table, but that is not present in the right table.
Okay, fine. So how do you differentiate that this table is a fact table or this table is a like dimension table? How do you differentiate that?
uh, when we see when like in general in fact table, there are more number of data presents, like there are more number of rows presents. And if we see that there are some columns which are repeating in the table, then in that case we will consider that table as a fact table. But what happens in a dimension table, data are not repeated. Means we will be getting the data, we will be getting only the distinct data, means distinct rows in we will be getting in the dimension table.
Okay, so if so you are saying that if data is repeated, then it is a fact table. If it is not, then it's a dimension table. This is what you are
Uh,
saying?
yes, and fact table will be containing the quantitative data, and dimension table will be containing the qualitative data. Means dimension table will be having information about any particular dimension.
Okay. Can you explain what is a snowflake schema?
In slope, basically it's a version of it a version of a star schema in which dimension table is further normalized. So suppose we have a dimension table called product, and inside that product table we have the subcategory of product. Then for every subcategory of the product name is repeating. Then in that case, what we will do, we will create another dimension table which will be linked to our product table. So this is the snowflake schema.
So you use the term normalization. What is normalization?
Uh, Basically, normalization means it's a process. It's a process to organize the data in our relational model in such a way that we reduce the data redundancy.
Okay. What is cardinality?
Cardinality means cardinality represents the relationship between two tables, like how these two tables are related. So this can be one to one, many to many.
Okay. So ideally, what kind of cardinality we should prefer?
Ideally, we should prefer one to many relationship.
Okay. So what kind of visuals you have used till now?
Uh, like bar graph, stack bar chart, and then scatter plot, pie chart. These kind of visuals I have used. Line chart.
Okay. Okay, how will you differentiate a donut chart with a pie chart?
Uh, In pie chart, the information present in the form of slices, while in the donut chart we have the information present in the form of arcs, and
Okay.
in the donut chart there is a hole in between, and in pie chart there is no hole in between. So basically the donut chart is just a variation of a pie chart, means it based upon requirement like what kind of visuals will be suited for our visualization. Then in that case we prefer to use donut chart or pie chart.
Okay. How can you differentiate a measure with a calculated column?
Measure is something which is evaluated only during the runtime. So suppose we have created a measure, then we drag and drop that measure into some particular visual. Then only at that time it will be executed, and it will not be taking any extra amount of space in our data model. While calculated column will be created as a column inside our data model, and it will be taking up a space in our data model.
Right. Okay. Suppose you have a slicer. Okay.
Okay.
And that slicer is present on multiple pages. Okay.
Yes.
Now, if I select something in that slicer, the same slicer is present in the other pages also of the report. So if I
Yes.
select something, I want that selection should be visible in other pages of the report also. So how it can be made possible?
There is an option to sync slicers. So if we enable that option, then we will be able to do this thing.
Okay, fine. Uh, what is the page level filter?
Page level filter, like if we apply any filter through filter pane, and from that page if we have applied that filter for any particular page, then that filter will be applied to only particular page, and if we go to any other page, then that page will not be affected by this filter.
How have you set up drill through filter till now in any of your reports?
Yes.
How do we do that drill through?
Firstly, for drill through filter, we must have a hierarchy of data. Like if we want to enable drill through for some date column, then we must have a hierarchy of year, then month, and and then date. And when we drag and drop that thing on our visual, then that will be automatically enabled in our visual. And there is a fork like icon available in our visual, and if we click on that fork like icon, then we will be able to drill through our visual.
Do you know how to do how to set up a custom tooltip?
Yes. Firstly, we have to create a new page, and in the canvas setting, we have to set that page as a tooltip. Then for that page, we have to enable tooltip, and on the page on any particular visual for which we want that tooltip to be visual. So we have to link that tooltip to that particular visual. Then if we hover over that visual, then we will be able to see that tooltip in our visual.
Okay. Okay. Do you know about what if parameters?
Uh, no,
And do you know about field parameters?
no, I have not worked upon this thing.
Fine. So what kind of DAX functions you have used till now?
uh, uh, like filter functions, time intelligence function, text function,
Okay.
some table functions. I have used these all these kind of functions.
Okay. In like, can you explain when do we use dates in period function?
Uh, Dates in period. So suppose if you want to get so you want me to tell like in what scenario we will use dates in period.
Yeah, yeah. What like where
So
it can be useful?
so generally, when there is a need to calculate the running total or running average, then in that scenario, we will be using dates in period.
Okay. And suppose you don't have a date table in your model. So
Okay.
how can you create yourself date table?
So we have a function called calendar auto index, and if we use that function, we will be able to create a date table based upon the starting and end date, like minimum and maximum date in our data model.
And how calendar auto function is different from calendar function?
So in calendar function, we have to pass the start date and end date. But in calendar auto function, we do not have to pass the start date and end date. It will automatically detect the minimum date which is present inside our data model and the maximum date which is present inside our data model. And based upon that, it will create the table automatically.
Okay. So suppose there is a requirement I want a card visual on the page of the report, and in that card visual I want to see the total sales of country India, for example. Every
Yes.
time if the user opens that report, in that card visual, total sales of country India should be visible. Okay, so how will you create a measure for that?
For this, I think I have to use. So you are telling by default, if we open our Power BI report, then in that case, if we select any country, then for that country it will be visible. And
No, no, no.
okay.
First part is if I open the report, that visual card visual should show me the total sales of country India. How will this be set up?
So for this, we have to use calculate function. Then inside the calculate function, as a filter modifier, we have to pass the country name as India there.
Okay. Now the next part is if we also have a country slicer. Okay.
Yes,
So by default it is showing India, as you
yes.
said. But if I select some other country, then it should show the sales of that particular country. So now this how you will set up this?
So for this, we have to just do a little modification. We have to use selected value. So what
Okay.
this selected value will do, if the context for column name filters down to just one column, then it will return that value, and then we will pass this inside a if function, and then we will pass the that particular measure which will be calculating our value, and then we will be able to get that thing.
Okay. How do the iterator functions work? Like the functions which ends with X. How do they
Yes.
work?
So it basically goes rows by rows, and then applies the condition which we have written inside the iterator function, and then according to that it gives the scalar value for each row.
Okay. Uh, what does filter function return?
Filter function returns a subset of our table. So suppose we have applied some filter on our table, then it will be returning a subset of table based upon the filter which we have applied.
Okay. Is there any difference between date add and same period last year function?
uh, Date add and same period last year. Mm, I do not think there is any difference between these two functions, because if we use these two functions to calculate the running total or moving average, then in both the cases these two functions are giving the same result.
So if you have developed the report, if you have to publish the report to the Power BI service, right? Because ultimately we have to show the report to the end user. So we have to publish that report to the Power BI service. So what kind of license as a developer you should have to do this?
We should have a pro license.
Okay. And what is the premium license then?
Premium license, basically when an organization is having more than 10,000 user, or a certain number which is greater than 10,000 user, then in that case we should be going for premium license, because it will be economically viable for that company
Okay.
to use that premium license.
So if I say that Nitish, you have a premium license, so is this statement right? Like as you said, I can say to you that okay, Nitish, you have a pro license, you will say yes, right? But
Yes.
if I say to you, do you have a premium license? So is it right?
Uh, there is a difference between pro license and premium license. Suppose if you ask me that you have a pro license, then I will say yes. But when you says to me, do you have a premium license? Then in that case, I will say no. Why? Because premium license is issued to an organization rather than any individual person. So what organization does? It gives the access to that premium license to its user.
Okay. Do you know about contributor level access?
Uh,
So if I say
mm,
that you have a contributor level access, So what can you do as a developer?
As a developer, I can publish the report and I can assign a member. I can assign a new user, which will be having a access level lower than me.
Okay, so as a contributor, you can do that.
Yes.
Are you sure about it?
Uh,
Have you actually worked on Power BI service like
no,
in your
no.
any of the
I
projects?
just have theoretical knowledge on Power BI service. I just use Power BI service to publish the report.
Okay, fine. Okay, so if you develop any kind of report, you know that we have to set up a security, right? So firstly, tell me what is row level security, and
Uh,
have you also set up any kind of row level security in your during the practicing part?
uh, Basically, I have never used implemented row level security, but I just have some theoretical knowledge on row level security. So
Okay.
it is just the different access level given to the users. So suppose some users are located in Mumbai, and or there is a team which works on sales, and we want that team to just see the data about sales. So in that case, we will be using the row level security to show that team just the data of sales. And in row level security, there are two types, like one is static and one is dynamic. So in a static, we each time we want to assign an access level to any particular user, then we have to do it manually. But what in a static, what in dynamic row level security, what we do, we create an Excel sheet. Then in that Excel sheet, we give the filter column, that filter column on which we want to give the access, and then we give the user ID or email ID of that person, and then we connect that table. We connect that newly created table to the table to the data table, and then when we want to give the access, then in through Power BI service, we just enter the email ID of that person. Then that person will be able to get the access according to his use.
Okay, fine. Okay, what is a data gateway? Do you know about data gateway?
Yes.
So
So
where it is useful?
So, so suppose we have published our report on Power BI service, and we have on-premise data set. Now the Power BI service needs to connect to any database to filter out. So suppose if we filter out our result through slicers, then from somewhere it will be getting the data and then filtering the result. So Power BI gateway is used to connect this Power BI service to our on-premise data set.
Right, right. Okay, Nitish, I'm done from my side. I think you did really well. Most of the, like, I would say, more than 95% of the questions you said the right answer. Obviously, from the Power BI service side, you don't have much exposure, so we can expect that thing. But other than that, you have a good knowledge and you are really doing good. So all the best, because whatever you are doing, just keep doing that. And I think in the coming time, you will definitely get a job as a fresher.
Okay. Sasank, thanks for your appreciation, and I hope I will get a job soon.